And welcome. Today we've got ISMAEL Perez, and today we are going to be discussing what happened last night at the Trump special announcement at Mar-a-Lago. And also we're going to speak about the energies and the solo flash, etc. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Rumble channel, nvtvnews.com, and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. ISMAEL, thank you for joining me, sir. How are you, and what did you think of last night with Donald Trump's announcement? How did you think that went, and what was you expecting for him to say?
Well, first of all, these rumors about him getting arrested is just hogwash. It's not the case, because by law, by constitutional law, he's still the president of the states. And I believe that, many are expecting his announcement for 2024, but I think that in the next, based on astrological alignments, the age of Pisces does end sometime in spring of 2023. So as we get closer to that astrological alignment, as we move towards the age of Aquarius, which is marked by the beginning stages of what many have called the golden age, I believe that's when the white hats are going to have the ability to bring down the cabal and, conduct the great reveal and for the masses to know what's been going on. So I don't think there's going to be a 2024 election. I think there's going to be a huge shift based on astrological planetary alignments that is going to be in favor of the light and the exposure and defeat of the cabal. So that's what I believe. And also what the galactics have been telling me is that many are expecting some sort of external savior. Many are expecting the white hats to save them. But the truth of the matter is, Nicholas, is that we are all our own saviors. Every single person out there has to do the inner work in order to become the best version of themselves. Because the more people do that, the faster we are going to get this, massive disclosure and arrest. Because that's what we're all been waiting for. But it's got to be a two-way process. If the collective, if the great majority of humanity isn't ready, if they're still supporting grocery stores, if they're still supporting the pharmaceutical, dark market, all that Western Orthodox stuff, if they're still supporting the matrix, they're not doing anything. It's like the white hats are not going to do nothing. The white hats just want to make sure that we are ready, that we are spiritually ready to understand what's going to be happening when the disclosure takes place, because if not, then many people will be shocked. And so they want a smooth transition. They don't want any chaos. They don't want any rioting. They want to avoid all that. And as far as nuclear war and, people saying that Russia and China are moving in their forces, now we got Poland asking for the UN support. Things are escalating, but this is where I believe, Nicholas, that there will be some sort of a timeline shift where the fifth dimensional Earth is going to go into one direction where none of that is taking place, where actually the good guys are, implementing the new programs where people are becoming healed, and then there's going to be a other timeline that is going to be, the timeline in which perhaps there is nuclear war. So, it all depends on people's resonance, it all depends on people's resonance and where they're vibrating, because it's not so much a splitting of worlds, a physical split. It's more of a vibrational frequency split of energetic frequencies, and depending on your level of vibration, you're going to either be going into the timeline where heaven on earth exists, right? The beginning of the golden age, the age of Aquarius, or you're going to continue going into the timeline where, all this disasters and, not good stuff takes place. So it all depends on the individual.
Now, before we get into more of the energetic stuff that's coming, with the solar flash as well, which we might see, we might not even know about. It will just happen within the energies that we're in. I want to go back to the Trump announcement, the special announcement, because a lot of people were not, where they were thinking, I hope he doesn't announce his presidency for 2024, because that would be like him conceding 2022. People are like, hang on a second, we need to look at the 2020 election fraud and not continue like normal, like it was just he lost and now he's just going for 2024. So people are a little bit frustrated about that. They were expecting for Trump to come out and say something like, you know, there's military action or there's arrests, or the Supreme Court has now said that this is the evidence and I'm your president and I am the commander in chief, or something along those lines. You know, a little bit more disclosure where it gives people, you know, it sort of puts all the pieces together to what we have been looking at in the last year. However, once we saw the presidency, some people noticed that Donald Trump did not even mention 2024 when he said that he was announcing to run. Now, could this mean that because the the Republicans who have one majority of the seats, could it mean that they are now in a position where they could be, investigating the election fraud, and they could even reinstate Trump back as, you know, much earlier than 2024? And Trump also said, to back that up, he said that he will not allow Joe Biden another 4 years in 2020. Because in 4 years, I mean, not 2024 moving forward, but 2020 moving forward, because you're only allowed 4 years. Does that mean that he will make sure that he doesn't see the whole of the 4 years from 2020? So all of that, what do you think about that? What's your opinion?
I totally agree. I think that's what's going to cause the timeline shift, is that in the positive timeline, you know, he's still our president, so he's not going to announce anything. And, they will restore the republic. And one of the indicators, as you mentioned, is the fact that now the Republicans are, in office. And so that tells me that, we could probably see this whole thing go down. Again, a lot of it has to do with the astrological alignments. So we are ending the end of the dark ages in spring of 2023. So, most people are expecting, I guess, something to happen this November or December. But again, everything has to abide by galactic and universal laws. And so while we're still living in the last days of the age of Pisces, unfortunately, the Cabal still has control. But as we approach the age of Aquarius, we're going to witness a huge shift in power from the white hats from the dark hats to the white hats. And that's when everything will be revealed. That's when the chemtrails are going to stop, the poisoning of our food. That's when the vaccination, everything is going to stop. They're trying to, including 5G, by the way. I could say 5G now. So in one timeline, it's the opposite of that. They crank up 5G. We go into a nuclear war. In a different timeline, it's the white hats taking the world back from the dark hats and bringing forth healing modalities, doing away with the pharmaceutical cartel, the educational system, the old scientific way of reductionism, and bringing forth the new science that has been coming forward through quantum physics and stuff. So, my opinion is it's all about the timeline shift. So those that are doing the work, those that are vibrating with the higher frequencies of brotherhood, understanding, compassion, and love, are going to be able to witness and go into the positive timeline where, the republic is saved, and hence, the entire world democratic system becomes the new global structure. And I do reveal in my book that it's going to be, I think all these 300 some countries are going to be consolidating in 22 different federated regions, because that's also when they're going to be introducing the Space Force and all the advanced interplanetary and stellar technology that the Space Force now has. So it's going to be interesting for those that make the positive ascension.
Absolutely. When you speak about Space Force and other planetary stuff like that, it sounds so not far-fetched, because I do believe in it, but it sounds so far away. Like we have another at least 10, 15, 20 years for this. People are not ready for that. What do you think about that?
Well, again, it all depends on how many people out there are waking up. So I think that one of the things that's going to be taking place when this announcement takes place, the EBS, the GESARA and SARA programs, is that it's immediately going to be followed by the fact that there's been breakaway groups. The secret space program is going to be disclosed. And Space Force will be pretty much our interplanetary police force, and they already are. They're actually, they used to be called Solar Warden. They just kind of reorganized their name or rechanged their name to Space Force because, believe it or not, Nicholas, like I said, the White Hats through Space Force, through Solar Warden, we have already established colonies across the entire Milky Way, and they believe that. When the time is right, which is again, once we hit critical mass and mass awakening, then humanity will be ready to be part of this galactic community. So yeah, the Space Force is very real. They are working from behind the scenes, doing everything according to their capacity to hold off the dark hats, to hold off the AI, because it is a spiritual warfare. But again, without enough people waking up, it's not going to happen because there has to be critical mass.
So how are people going to wake up? How are we going to have that critical mass?
I would have to say EBS.
Okay.
Through Project Odin, when they take over the airwaves, everything's going to be revealed. And that's what many are calling the Great Revealing. And I think that as we get closer to the shift of the age of from Pisces to Aquarius, as we approach the spring in a few months, we're definitely going to be seeing a huge changeover that is going to pretty much mark the beginning of the new world and the end of the old world. And now go ahead.
No, please, another.
Oh, another revelation that I was actually given by the Galactics to, reveal at this time is they want us to know that, we're actually, there's many breakaway groups beyond, just those 5 that I mentioned in our first interview. There's been breakaway groups for thousands and thousands of years. To the point where in a 4th dimensional level of reality and in a 5th dimensional level of reality, there's over 100 planets within our solar system, most of which were terraformed by these advanced interstellar races that are occupying the same space here in our solar system at the same time, but existing in higher dimensions. So one of the greatest things that's going to be happening when the shift takes place as we go into higher dimensions in the positive timeline is that we are going to be witnessing that it's more than just 9 or 10 or 12 planets. We're going to be seeing over 100 planets that are revolving around our local sun. And that's going to be another disclosure, by the way. These within our solar system, within the vicinity of our solar system, Nicholas, there's already interstellar galactic travel commerce, exchanges that is taking place, and they're just waiting for the surface people, because there's also civilizations within the earth and there's also civilizations within the ocean. So they're waiting for the surface people of the earth to actually reach the 4th and 5th dimension level of reality so that they are able to interact with them. But right now they're kept secret, until humanity's ready. And I believe that this EBS, this great revelation is definitely going to be the beginning. Sorry about that. The beginning of all this disclosure.
So do you think that Donald Trump and Eric Trump and Don Jr., do you think they're all aware of this?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because Donald's uncle, John Trump, was actually really good friends with Nikola Tesla. And before the feds raided his apartment, most of the technology patents were actually preserved and safeguarded by John Trump. And so that's how they started the Solar Warden program, by the way, which is an offshoot of our Navy, and what we call the World Alliance or the Earth Alliance. That's how the Earth Alliance was born. And so yeah, they've already been time traveling. They already have free energy technologies, access to the best, healing modalities. And so, I do believe that the Trumps are very aware of all this stuff, this galactic stuff. They're not allowed to speak about it yet until the great reveal. And it's going to be in stages. It has to be in stages because unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that are still living according to the program, very fundamentalist, very narrow-minded. And so we're trying to get to the point where, there's at least 10% of the population who snaps out of the program in order for all this stuff to be revealed. Otherwise, it's not going to be good.
When we speak about, the financial, how corrupt the financial system is, and they say that, some of us say that it's a corrupt system, that they have to get rid of it. It makes all the contracts null and void, which means all the debts that people owe, like their mortgages and personal loans, it will just be wiped out, not as a reward, but simply because it was illegal. So they have to get rid of it. Do we know that this for sure that this could happen? And if so, do you know anyone in authority or in government of part of the white hats someone who's quite credible, that we could say, they've said something along the lines of this?
Well, I don't know anyone personally, but from what I feel and from the information that I get from the Galactics is that that the process of obliterating or eliminating the taxation, the IRS, the three-letter alphabet, all that stuff, all those agencies is in progress, because they're all part of the deep state. So not that I know anyone personally, but I do know that all that stuff is going to be replaced, and all the debt, everything that not only the people owe to the credit card companies, to their mortgage and all that stuff, it's going to be wiped out. I do know that for sure. And then we're going to go back to zero, where everyone's going to be like a clean slate. But it's also going to be wiping out the debt, of course, of our country, as we move back to a gold, silver standard, U.S. Treasury, what they call the new quantum financial system, which is going to be supported by that.
Sure. I mean, I don't even think it will go back to zero. I think it will be much bigger than that. I think it would be that
well, the debt will be zero. That's what I meant to say.
Sure,
It's like like say you owe on your house. Say you own a house and you owe, like, I don't know, 50,000 more on your mortgage. All that stuff is going to be canceled. Say you went to college or university and you still are in debt to your college or university. All that, credit cards, anything that has to do with that, all that stuff is going to be canceled. That's what I mean, like going back to zero.
I've said this before on my channel, and some people, I've seen the comments, and some people say, oh, well, I don't have any debts, so that's not fair on me because then I don't get to have, my debts cleared away. But I just want to remind the viewers that this isn't a reward. If you've got a debt, we're going to reward you and we're going to wipe out your debt. And those who don't have debt, we can't reward you, so you're going to stay like that. It's not about the reward. It's not even a reward. This is clearing out what's corrupt. So the people that are in debt, unfortunately, are already victims of fraud. So that has to be rectified and null and void, because that was dealt with illegal banking activities. So exactly. I just wanted to clear that up. Now, I spoke to Michelle Fielding the other day, and she's going to love me promoting her because I'm always saying her name on my channel, but I think she's very credible. I love what she says. And she says that we are going in the year of the rabbit. And the year of the rabbit, she says, is the year that everything calms down. Everything's going to be a lot smoother. Not like it was this year. I forgot which animal it was for this year. Please quote me if I can't remember, if you do know. But she says that the rabbit is going to be very calming. Everything's going to calm down. It's going to be more relaxed. Is that what you're getting as well?
If she's referring to as we enter 2023, yes. Yes, because I've been getting the same information from the Galactics that everything has to be according to astrological alignments. That's the marking, or what they call the demarcation point between one age and the next. To give you an example, for the last 5,000 years, we've been under the control of Marduk, the son of Enki. Marduk was also known as Belial to the ancient Babylonians, who, by the way, is the chief god that the Cabal families have been sacrificing children to for the last 5,000 years. We're going back to 5,000 years ago, right before his time came to rule. The world was under the age of the bull, which was still ruled by the children of Enlil Zeus and the demigods and the heroes of old, Athena, those that, you could say the benevolent extraterrestrials, those that were like the guardians of the earth during those days. And Marduk wanted so bad to rule during the age of the bull, but he couldn't because his time, the cosmic time wasn't setting on his cycle yet. So he had to wait a few hundred years for the age of the ram to set in, which is also known as the age of Aries. And then that's when he was able to, erect the first empire, which was Babylon, the Tower of Babel. That's when, he was able to, well, he was only given 5,000 years. And so because we do associate the control of the planet according to the astrological age, we could say that his time and his cycle ends spring of 2023. So I completely agree with that, because that's when, we're going to be entering the new age. And at that point, the Alliance and the White Hats are pretty much just going to be giving the torch. because it's going to be their time to rule,
So,
as we enter the golden.
When we talk about, everything coming down, and I want to specify a little bit around the financial system, because then that's when people are really going to be freed. That's when they're really going to not be stressed, because most of us are stressed because we don't have money. And people have to work all the time. And this corrupt matrix system that we're in was created like that on purpose to keep our frequencies low, so that we are stressed and all we focus on is making money, so that we don't have time to investigate the corruptness that's going on with these globalist elites. So when we talk about the debt forgiveness and all these contracts being void, and even the IRS being obliterated, just dismantled completely, when would you say this would be happening? I mean, I know time doesn't exist, and I know it's difficult because things can slow down, and we can jump from one parallel universe to another, and we could speed it up. And I know it depends on a lot of consciousness and how fast we go. But how could it be 1 year, 2 years? Could it be a decade until we see these things happen?
No. Absolutely not. It's going to happen again. All signs are pointing out to the spring of 2023. And so it all boils down to that, my friend.
Not 2024 or 2025, maybe. I know.
By 2024, we are already going to be settled within the new age, within the age of Aquarius, which is going to be a time where humanity is no longer divided, but they're coming together as one planetary brotherhood and sisterhood. Everything has been out in the open. Things are much better. Cures for everything are going to be unveiled. The people that have been in charge of how can I say it, of developing all these advanced interplanetary and stellar technologies are going to come forward with all that. So what I definitely see, and it's also supported and backed up by other people as well. I'm not the only one saying that, the spring of 2023, that's when we're going to be seeing the real changes. But a lot of people who I don't even know about, again, people are sending me DMs, hey, this person agrees with you, this person agrees with you. And then come to find out that Michelle Fielding is also saying that 2023 is going to be the year of what the disclosure, right? The revealing is going to take. Love it, yeah. It seems like everyone's on the same page. Everyone's on the same page, and that's why nothing happened last week. They were saying, oh well, there could have been some false flags, on the 8th of last week, right? Nothing happened last week because again, they only have a few months left, in order for them to step down, because everything has to do with proper alignment. It's again, for those that don't believe that everything is influenced by the stars and planets and the living cosmos, everything is conscious. Believe it or not, what's playing out here on the earth is something that is being influenced by the heavenly bodies as well, guys. It's all interconnected,
Of course. Now, I still don't quite understand the solar flash. Can you tell us what is exactly the solar flash? Because I'm still confused about this.
Okay, so basically it's a two-way process. The primary thing about the solar flash is that it is going to be first an internal event. We have 7 chakras, right, representing the 7 spectral radiations: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, indigo. The solar flash is about doing the spiritual work, doing the internal work, where we begin to find neutrality, collapse the extreme polarity into oneness again. And once we do that, we begin to activate the 7 chakras, which was concealed in the Bible as the 7 churches. That was the metaphor that they used to describe the opening up of the 7 churches. Nothing to do with physical buildings or anything. It had to do with the 7 chakras. Once that happens, there's going to be a trigger. So it's a two-way event. The trigger is an internal process where it's going to begin with a few of us that have already collapsed the 7 chakras into the singular white light. In other words, we are going to be like the portal. The first portal is us, the humans, the 144,000, the chosen, the starseeds, whatever you want to call them. Once enough of them do the collapsing of the polarity into the singularity, that's going to be a cue to the sun to release the signal that is going to do the same for everyone else. So that's what the solar flash is. It's a two-way process. It begins with a number of people on the planet. And then after that, it's going to be followed by a massive trigger where the sun is going to pretty much activate dormant DNA, and everyone, star seeds and non-star seeds, are all going to be upgraded to the next stage. Of course, there's going to be different levels of upgrades.
Do you think that we've seen some of the levels happening already? Because I feel like there has been a shift. I mean, even my cousins I have some cousins and they've always been into football, and drinking. But lately, they've been sending me Instagram reels on political things, so they're naturally becoming interested as well. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, because we're all connected via a organic mind hive, a planetary mind hive that connects all humans as one. So that's happening because, like a domino effect, many people are snapping out of the program. People are waking up. So the more that happens, the more even the normies, or what we call people who are still, programmed, are going to be more. It's almost like the subconscious, or whatever it is, that kept them thinking on a very surface, beta wavelength mind state, not being critical about things and not analyzing things for themselves. It's all being just neutralized. So they're beginning to see things for what they are. So that's happening as a byproduct of people waking up worldwide, because we are affecting the planetary group mind. That's why they call it critical mass. We reach 10%. That's it. It causes a natural tilt for everybody on the planet to wake up and snap out of their hypnosis.
Interesting. Well, Ismael Perez, it's been a great honor to have you. Thank you very, very much for sharing your views on the latest topics as well. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish? And just before you say something, I also wanted to say that, well done. You're on Unified Television as well, and you're on there. And if you could also tell us a little bit about that as well.
Sure. Yeah, I've been doing some episodes where I'm going in depth regarding the cosmic history, the galactic war, of course, the ascension, DNA activation, and how it all works in detail. I cover so many topics. So for those that haven't had an opportunity to watch my episodes, go under Unified /Ishmael, and you guys could get some, you guys get a 7-day free trial. I'm going to be doing more episodes. So, I would look into that, because it's mind-blowing information. And I'm also doing a book tour. So I'm going to be heading across the states for the next 2 weeks. I think I'm going to visit a total of 12 to 13 states, beginning with Arizona. I'm going to be there Friday. I'm going to be there Friday from 12 noon to 5 p.m. at a bookstore called the Astrology Bookstore, metaphysical bookstore, of course. I think the city is Glendale. It's going to be Glendale, Arizona. For those that live in Arizona, if you guys want to come hang out with me, I'm going to be there from 12 noon to 5 p.m. doing a book signing, a small lecture, and of course answering questions as well. And then from Arizona, I'm heading over to Texas on Saturday, Sunday, and then from Texas over to New Orleans, and then Florida. So every 2 days, I'm going to be going to a different state. So for those that follow me on social media, I will be giving you guys the heads up as to where I'm going to be a few days in advance. So that way, if you guys are in that particular state, you guys could come to my event and meet me in person. So yeah, that's it. That's my announcement.
Would you like to tell the people what your social media is, like your Instagram handle?
Yes. So my only Instagram account, I have so many fake accounts, is Project Restoration Zion 1, one word. And that's Zion with the Z as in zebra. So it's Project Restoration Zion 1. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm also on Twitter under the same title. So you guys could find me there.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Ismael, and we'll speak again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Listen.